Welcome to the Dojo Talk Podcast. Please remove them shoes before entry.
Sam Master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes.
Yeah. Living every day to define man's mission. Look into the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Serial Sensei. We're on episode number 168. As always, you can give this podcast a listen on SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, as well as various other streaming platforms. Hit us up on social media at the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page, as well as the Instagram page. Send questions to Dojo Talk Podcast at yahoo.com. Follow me on Twitter at Serial Sensei, and you can follow my co-host on Twitter at GC Zeus. Speaking of my co-host, as always, I'm joined with the anti-cool. What's going on, man?
I'm so mad. So mad.
Yeah. And I'm going to let the listeners know off rip. We're going to change the format of this episode. This episode's going to run a little different. We're going to get straight to the point. We'll do our normal little intro spills, give shout outs to listeners and all that. But we're going to save the news and like fight announcements and other stuff for later. After the What's on Your Mind segment, we're going to jump right into this because there's some conversations to be had. But other than that, how's life been? It's been a little bit since the last time we recorded.
It's been busy, working, school and shit. Like my best friend, he's literally on the plane now. He just moved to Dallas. So I missed half of the card last night just hanging out with him and his family before he left.
Oh, okay. Oh, a couple people moved to Dallas. Nice little area. Good food, from what I've heard. I haven't been to Dallas yet. But good food, from what I've heard. Yeah, what have I been doing? I've been writing a lot. Been writing a whole lot. I've been trying to fit some gaming in, not as much as I want to. Yeah, I've been kind of doing the same old. Writing, working, trying to be a halfway productive adult as much as I can. Yeah, it's been a little bit since the last time we recorded. For those who may not have heard, or if you don't know, this podcast will slowly be winding down this year. It'll be ending probably not too long after the Khabib and Tony fight. But we'll still be covering fights up until then, but we're only doing pay-per-views, so the episodes will be a little more spaced out until that point. But
I will say we're choosing two hell of good pay-per-views to go on.
Yeah, really, I think these last three are like these are some monumental kind of, I mean, hopefully the other two live up to the hype, but on paper, yeah, we're picking some bangers to go out on. And boy, did this card. Ugh, boy, oh boy. But we'll get there, man. We'll get there. Shout outs to the listeners. Thank you guys. Twitter folk, Tumblr folk, wherever you are in the universe listening to this podcast. If you post or retweet or whatever you do, however you share it, however you listen, however you consume it, and wherever you are, we appreciate you. Number one for the week in terms of listeners, Mountain View, California. Number two, okay, so this is weird. Is this like a real place? I'm just reading this from the algorithm. Stockton-on-Tees, United Kingdom. What is that? That's literally what it says. Stockton-on-Tees, but it's like hyphenated, like it's like three. Oh, I have to Google this. Is this like a real?
Oh my God, it is.
That's a real place?
It's a town in England.
All right. Number two, Stockton-on-Tees in the UK. Shout outs to y'all. The UK is actually up here a lot. Number three, Middlesbrough. UK.
Which is right next to it.
Hey, number 4 is, I might butcher this, Sandy Acre, UK. I don't know if I'm saying that right. SANDIACRE, UK. Number 4. Number 5, Toronto, Canada. So shout outs to everybody overseas and in the UK. Y'all have been holding it down, and it's dope because we haven't been putting out episodes as frequently because of the wind down, but y'all have still been listening on like a pretty decent basis. So I appreciate y'all. Shout outs to Stockton on Tees, UK. I definitely appreciate you guys. So yeah, as far as the show rundown, like I said, we're going to switch things up a little bit. We'll still start with the What's on Your Mind segment, which we might have a little bit to talk about because it's been a while since we've last recorded, and there's been a lot that has happened probably since the last time we've been on this microphone. But after that, we're going to jump right into the fights, and then we'll do fight announcements and news and all of that good stuff later, and then we'll close out the show, the normal way we close out, fight recommendations, all that good stuff. But it's been a little bit since we last recorded, so the anti-cool, if you have anything going on, any pressing matters that you'd like to address, what is on your mind for this week?
Oh, God. My Knicks are on a 4-game winning streak. I'm just waiting for them to implode.
Well, y'all got rid of the owner. No, not the owner, the president, right?
Yeah, Perry or was it
Mills?
Perry and Mills both
Mills.
suck. They both suck. So they one's still there. That's the point. But other than that, not really much on my mind, to be honest with you. I'm rattling around in my brain, but I've been so focused on like school and that alone, I really don't have much to say. Unless I want to learn about library information science. Super fun.
There you go. Educate the listeners. I will say that people should, well, even though I don't go to my libraries often as I probably should, but just the FYI, like libraries have a lot of functions that I don't think a lot of people are aware of outside of just, I need to go here to get a book. Like,
yeah, we run tons of programs. We specifically our library, we give out we loan out Nooks, Wi-Fi hotspots, museum passes for in the city and around here. We have a lot. We do vision screenings for kids during part of the year. If you're a new parent, we sometimes the library will do like a community baby shower. I've seen libraries that loan out like drones and cooking equipment and power tools. They have their own gardens that you're free to come and use. Some loan out bikes and shit. Like it's really great.
Yeah, support your local library. They do a lot more than you probably think they do. I can definitely see that. Actually, we had to do community service in high school as a part of like our graduation requirements. And I did my last year when I did my community service, I worked at a library. It was fun. I got a chance to be the guy who organized all the DVDs. It was cool. I did it for like a couple months. It was a good time. So support your local library. Is that all you got?
That's all I got. I know you got what else would be on my mind, so I'm gonna let you handle it.
All right. Yeah, I guess we'll start off with the. I guess you could say this is still major. And I have to recognize it on this podcast because we haven't recorded since it happened. But definitely, man, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, Gigi Bryant, John Altobelli, Carrie Altobelli, Alyssa Altobelli, Christina Mauser, Sarah Chester, Peyton Chester, and Ara Zaboyan, or Zabayan. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'm sure as of this recording, you guys already know the Kobe Bryant situation, the helicopter crash. It's been going on for a while now, but we haven't recorded like since it that happened like before we went on or after we went on our little break. So we haven't gotten a chance to address it, but definitely just a rest in peace. It still feels weird, even like reading articles still, because now they're slowly starting to release stuff about like the crash and details of the crash, and stuff is slowly just kind of starting to trickle down. But it still feels weird looking and seeing like
it's like I was never the biggest Kobe fan when he was alive. Cause like I grew up in that time where it was like Kobe versus LeBron, and like it was like, you know, as like a 10-year-old that was like vehemently the thing. But I was a Knicks fan, so I hated both of them. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But like I remember being like 11, 12 years old, and like no matter what basketball court I went to, there was always somebody there wearing like Kobe's gear, trying to hit like a 30-foot turnaround jump shot while they scream out Kobe and shit. It's just like, I know he played basketball, but like, dude just felt indestructible.
Yeah, he was one of those, and I feel like I hear this from a lot of people, and I'm actually the same way. A lot of us weren't Kobe fans growing up. I wasn't a Kobe fan either. Kobe stopped a lot of my favorite players from getting rings and winning championships. Bro, Kobe, I loved Allen Iverson, man. Iverson was my guy. But when they played the Lakers in the finals, I knew in my heart of hearts, like, bro, they can't beat Kobe and Shaq, man. It's too much. And my all-time favorite player is Tracy McGrady, and Kobe and T-Mac had some great duels. So, like, even though I wasn't a Kobe fan, I was always attached to him because of people that I were fans of. And the Spurs are my team. And the Spurs and the Lakers, we were the two teams that had that dynasty run in those 2000s. So it was like everywhere I turned, I couldn't avoid Kobe. He was everywhere. Like, no matter who I rooted for, Kobe was trying to take them out, and more often than not, he did. Yeah, he was one of those guys who I wasn't a fan, but like you just had to respect his game, man. He was. I don't want to get into the whole Kobe versus LeBron debate. I don't think that's the time for this,
Right.
But the one thing I always looked at Kobe that I gave him the edge over a lot of players is just like that killer instinct. You can't teach that. Like, there were moments where you would watch Kobe play and it's like, oh, he's in that zone. It's over. Like, there's nothing you can do. Don't matter who you put on him. He's gonna go out there and drop like 40 on their head. And he just had like this. That Mamba mentality was real with him. Like, and I can't remember where I heard this from, but I think it's a perfect comparison. He really was like the Bruce Lee of like basketball. Like, he lived this, man. Like, he was really. It was like that was his life, like, for real. And that Mamba mentality wasn't just like a phrase or a catchy like head, like he really lived that. Like, I'm gonna go out here and I'm going to destroy you, and I'm gonna be great. I'm gonna be as great as I can possibly be. I'm always gonna leave it out on the court. I'm not leaving anything to chance. I'm going 100%. And if you're not going 100%, I'm gonna roll you over. And that was how he played. And even if you didn't like him, like, you had to respect it.
It's wild. Because like I think it was only like a couple months ago where we were making fun of Kobe because he posted that picture of his team.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And they had did they just come in second or something at some tournament?
I can't remember. Yeah, but he was talking about the one girl who wanted to dance, and
it was this poor 12-year-old girl who gets put on blast by Kobe Bryant because she wanted to go dance instead of play basketball. We were making fun of like the Mamba mentality and everything. It's just like, but that like, I don't think that's something everybody needs to be successful. But I do think that there are people like that who need that type of drive to rise up, and like Kobe was one of them.
And I'll say one thing. I feel like this happens with a lot of people who I wasn't fans of in the beginning, and this isn't even just in terms of basketball, like in any sport. I tend to appreciate them more like later in their career, because you just start to realize like you throw away the rivalries and whatever feelings you had about them as just like a sports fan, and you kind of just realize like, man, even if I hated this person, he was still a part of like my childhood, and now when he retires, he's not gonna be there anymore. Like I remember the night when Kobe's last game, because that same night Golden State was playing, and that was the game that they were going for the 70, I think it was 73 wins in the season, and I had to pick between, am I gonna watch the 73 win or am I gonna watch Kobe's game? And I'm like, I'm watching Kobe's game. I'm definitely watching Kobe's game. Like this is probably the greatest player of my generation. And this is the last time he's going to be on a basketball court. And he goes out there and he drops like 60 points on Utah. And it was crazy watching that game because they just kept feeding him the ball. Like everybody knew, like, we're going to let you. We know you want to go out with a bang. Here, man, just take the ball. And Kobe shot like 80 times. Maybe not 80, but he shot a lot of times.
It was over 60 times.
Yeah, like he just kept pulling the trigger. And I feel like that game like embodies kind of his career. Like that man went 100% to the very, very end, man. Like you had to respect it. And I think the one thing I also want to acknowledge him is that you would think with the way Kobe acted on the court, because we could talk about this for a long time. There are so many stories. Kobe was a savage on the court. Like the way he trash talked people. Shoot, the way he trash talked some of his own teammates, like.
Oh my God! What was the story?
The story went on. I think they got blown out. I don't know if they got blown out, but they lost to I think it was Portland, and Kobe went to the locker room and told them, "Y'all take off my shoes. Y'all are too soft." Like y'all can't wear my shoes. Like he was the ultimate like competitor. But I think the one thing I came to respect about him, and I didn't really learn this until later in his career, is like he was you didn't want to see him on the court. The man was a maniac on the court. But he was apparently a really good dude, like outside of just like, if you're on the court, you're the enemy. But off the court, he was a normal, nice guy. And it was cool to see him later in his career. He really like embraced the next generation. Like when LeBron passed his record, he wasn't salty about it. Or, he congratulated them, wanted them to keep pushing the game forward. He was always like willing to, I feel like, help. Like he really loved basketball that much. And it was really dope to see like what I think one of the things we're really missing out on is like he was really trying to push for women's basketball, which has been making some strides, in recent years, but like he was really, really like getting behind that. And I feel like we missed out on, I don't know what he might have had planned or how much. I'm pretty sure he could have had a pretty big impact, and it really sucks.
At the very least, his daughter would have played in the league, and
right
at this time, we should probably mention Gigi. Or Gigi. That's the thing that broke my heart. Like her and her teammate and her teammate's family also on the plane, the helicopter, just heartbreaking.
Yeah, like you wake up. I think they were going to a game, I want to say, right?
Yeah, they were on their way to a game at the Kobe Bryant the Mamba Sports Academy.
Yeah, that was when the news broke. Well, actually, it was Stokes. He was the first person I heard it from in our group text.
Yeah,
and he's like,
I had seen online somebody who was at the academy was tweeting like, "Oh, she's here," and she just found out, and she like she's like crying as you would expect, but no, it turns out she was on the helicopter with them.
When Stokes sent the text, I was like, what? Like that doesn't even sound real. Like I was like in the middle, like doing my taxes when I found out.
I was like on my way to go, like literally, I pulled up to a library because I was on my way to go like do my readings for the week and study. And like I got nothing done because like I just kept looking up like what the fuck is happening.
Yeah, yeah. I finished my taxes because that was important, and then I stopped. Like for the next like for like the rest of the day, like I couldn't do anything. Like I kept just watching news stories. Like after a couple hours, like because at first I was still kind of in like denial, like this isn't real. Like this didn't happen. And then I saw it on TMZ, and I'm like, God, like if there's one thing TMZ does get right, it's celebrity things of this nature, unfortunately. And then I start seeing it on ESPN. It's like, man, like that's when it really kind of set in, like, oh, this really happened. And then I just kept, I was locked on ESPN, just watching interviews and people talk about Kobe and Gigi and everybody on board. And it was just like, like that was one of the hardest gut checks, man. It was, and like you said, when you find out like the other, I mean, regardless, it's a tragedy, but when you found out like there were kids on there, man, like young, just God, it was. I couldn't imagine like being Vanessa and getting that phone call.
That's the fucked up thing.
Yeah.
Fucking TMZ puts it out before I guess it would be the LAPD gets the chance to actually call her and tell her.
Right.
So she finds out, presumably like how we all found out.
Right. And yeah, everything about that was just that was a hard day. That was a hard couple of days, man. Like, cause now like some of the gifts, like the gift of Kobe and the gift when he's like whispering into his daughter's ear and they're like talking about what's going on in the court. Like that was the gift you used to laugh at, and now I was like, damn, like they should still be here. And then you see like the coach, and what sucks about that too is I think it's the Altobelli family. Didn't they have like 2 more kids?
Mm-hmm.
And now and now they don't have parents or siblings anymore, and it's
fucking not to go too off track, but like did you see the clip of like Kobe explaining why like he used like a helicopter to get around?
I think it was something to do with like the traffic.
So the traffic in LA is like notoriously some of the worst in the country. Like I think only like certain parts of Texas are like worse. And it was like I was missing my training facilities like a few miles away from my house. Like I was missing like plays and picking her up from school because the traffic was so bad. So what I do, like I looked into it, and it turns out like I can take a helicopter, be home in like 15 minutes. But he also said that like him and Vanessa would never take the helicopter together because like they knew the risk. And we need to invest more in public transportation, especially California, especially the city of Los Angeles, because, God.
Yeah. Prayers to Vanessa, man. That's a rough way that's a terrible way to kick the year off, man. Like, could not imagine.
Yeah, what a shitty start to this year.
Yeah, this
in every facet of life.
Yes. From celebrities to politics to this year has been kind of 2020's been on one. It's been on one. And I'll address this real quick because I think it is important. And I've seen other conversations about this. there have been a lot of, I say a lot, can't quantify the number, but enough to be noticeable about seeing reporters, and not even just reporters, just people in general, bringing up Kobe's the rape case, all that stuff that happened back in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say I'm not going to say that people shouldn't talk about it, because it was a thing that happened. Like, you can't just, I'm always against, like, erasing history. Like, you can't just act like something didn't happen, because it definitely happened. It was a thing. And honestly, I don't remember I remember, like, when that happened, being, like, following the case, but years have passed and my memory's bad. I'm older now. I don't remember all the particulars of that case, so I'm not really going to speak too much in particular what happened in it. But I think there's like a way to go about it. Like, I'm not mad that people are talking about it, but like, I heard the clip of the Gayle King interview with Lisa Leslie.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you want to talk about it, that's okay. But don't, like, I didn't understand why she was asking Lisa Leslie that. Like, if you just want to go on, like, a rant, or not even a rant, just a little...
Like, if you want to put it into, like, the discussion, absolutely. But
right.
Yeah, like, don't drag Lisa Leslie into that.
Right, yeah, don't drag her into that. Like, she had nothing to do with any of that. Like, I get it, like, that was her friend, but, like, she wasn't there when any of that, like, happened. And then, like he just passed. Like, this is all still, like, really fresh. Like, he's not even there. Not even say he. I'm assuming everybody else as well. They're not even buried yet. Like, these people aren't even not to make light of it, not even caskets yet. Like, I think his service or funeral was the 24th. I want to say that's what I saw.
I have no idea, actually.
I think it's the 24th. I'm not sure if all of the other passages, if that's all like the same day, but I know his is the 24th. But, like, point being, like, this is still really, 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 really fresh. So if you're gonna talk about it, don't drag other. Like, they're not thinking of that. Like, my friend and his kids and a bunch of other kids and other family members who were all cool. Like, we lost a lot of people that day. The last thing Lisa Leslie thinking about is a sexual assault case that happened, umpteenth years ago. Like, come on, man. Cut that out. But I will say, though, on the other side, I saw, like, some of the responses to Gayle King, and I'm not in favor of the way people, like...
Yeah, Snoop Dogg. Like,
yeah. Nah, that's nasty. That's nasty.
Sit down. Sit down. Go back to making Dunkin' Donuts commercials. Like,
yeah. Because as much as I didn't like what Gayle King did, she at least wasn't... She wasn't, like, disrespectful, I guess, about it. Like, it's a certain way to go about doing things. It felt like on all angles, like the way Gayle King did it, and at the same time the responses that she got, it was all just kind of like, this is all in bad taste. Like, both of y'all are kind of wrong. Like, this is kind of nasty. This doesn't look good. Not a good look for anybody.
like it is not especially helpful for the poor woman from that case. I don't even know if we know her name now I think about it.
I honestly don't remember.
I want to say they kept it private. I'm sure somebody, because I'm looking at the Wikipedia article on it now, and it was that her name's not listed, and I was going to read it otherwise, but like I can't imagine what she's going through right now, having to, like, watch.
Yeah, you're making her, like, relive that almost.
Yeah.
And we don't know, and I'm not speaking for her because obviously we don't know her personally, but she could have been moved on and just been like, you know what, like, she could have moved on and just kind of been going on about her life, and now this happens and y'all are, like, kind of dragging her back into this. Maybe she doesn't want to relive that, and y'all are just kind of throwing it back in her face, like. And I'm not trying to downplay what happened to her, but, like, her whole life isn't being a victim. Like, that's not
Right.
her whole identity. Like, she's more than just the Kobe, assault victim. Like, she's still a person. So I don't know. It's just, you can talk about the case. I'm never gonna tell anybody they can't, but there's a way to just kind of go about doing it. And at least for Kobe, like I said, I don't know if he did do it, if he didn't do it. I'm guessing something happened, might have been miscommunication. I don't know. I wasn't there. The one thing I'll at least give Kobe credit for is we see a lot of celebrities, not even just celebrities. This is down to normal people on the street who get in these like kind of situations, and we don't really see them change behavior. They're still out here like being sketchy and still out here like not acting in a way you would think they should after you've been accused of such things. They're still out here just kind of wilding out.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed that Kobe, at the very least, owned up to what he did, and you saw the change in behavior. And he did what you would hope anybody would do. He had no repeat incidents. Like, he cleaned himself up, which I think in that situation, that's kind of what we would want, right? Like, obviously you don't want anybody ever to get sexually assaulted. That should never be a thing.
Yeah.
But in the event that it happens, no matter to what degree, you would hope that the person who allegedly did it, obviously they're not going to spend the rest of their life in jail, so they're going to have to come back out and be reintegrated into society. You want them to not ever do that again. That all of us win when that happens. We all win when that happens. I mean, obviously...
Yeah, like, from everything I've heard about Kobe, like, he was one of those people who learned from his mistakes, and I'm not saying anybody has to forgive him or whatever, or even give him credit, but that's one thing. Apparently he got called out for you dropping the F-bomb on a fan, and he learned from that, and like when people were in his mentions on Twitter, like he'd be like, don't use that language. He became a supporter of like GLAAD, and it's real life is messy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. But I'll end it there. But just once again, man, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. One last thing about Gigi Bryant, real quick. I'd never really seen footage of her play until this happened, and I saw a video of her. But she had the same fadeaway he did.
Mm-hmm.
Like the exact same fadeaway. That crazy.
Yeah, dude, he was training her to be the next him. Like,
yeah,
just like there's video of them like shooting around the house, and like he's like teaching her all his secrets.
Man, yeah, you could see it, man. When I saw that fade, it was like, oh God, man, it hurt even more. It's like, bro, she was on the path, man. she was on the path, man. She would have she probably did like Kobe, man. She'd have stopped a lot of y'all favorite players probably from getting championships. She stayed on that trajectory. That fadeaway was deadly.
I mean, her trajectory was straight up UConn, LA
right.
Sparks. Like,
right.
it was written in the stars, but
yeah, God, man. But rest in peace, man. Kobe Bryant, Gigi Bryant, John Altobelli, Carrie Altobelli, Alyssa Altobelli, Christina Mauser, Sarah Chester, Peyton Chester, and Ara Zabayan. Like I said, they're still releasing details of the crash, but just wanted to acknowledge that, man. Rest in peace to a legend, man.
But one last, I think Sean Grande put it best. He's the radio voice for the Boston Celtics guy. I saw somebody tweet it out. As Celtics fans, we didn't think Kobe Bryant could break our hearts one more time. We were wrong.
Coming from a Celtics fan, that's utmost respect that they had for him. But Yeah, man. Rest in peace to Kobe, man. All right. Moving on. Like I said, changing the format around. We're going to lift, well, I don't know if this is considered lifting the spirits, but it's going to be a little energy shift here.
We're going to go from sad and confused to angry and confused.
Right. Moving right on, man. Jumping right in it. UFC 247.
Fuck
John
Texas.
Jones. John Jones versus Dominic Reyes.
So, I mentioned this before we started recording, but no one should ever have anything in Texas that if you need the state athletic commission, because they are notoriously bad, like the worst.
Yeah, this isn't the first time either. If you go back and look at Houston's, I don't know if it's just Houston, but Texas in general history, especially in like of UFC cards, these shenanigans are actually sadly familiar.
Yeah. So, Sensei, do you know where the fight that killed Kimbo Slice took place?
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes to my
Houston.
home. Yikes to my birth state.
Because that's the only state that would license a man with a degenerative heart condition. In fact, if I remember correctly, yes. Do you want to know where they had Tito Ortiz versus Alberto El Patron?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I want to say they were going to have Ortiz versus Liddell, and they were looking at Texas, but like California just made more sense because they both were from California, and they managed to get that done. But still, like, the fuck, guys. If you follow boxing, you know, like the Texas Athletic State Athletic Commission has like a notorious history of like nepotism and ineptitude. Like the dude, the director of the AC fucking hates MMA. Like, oh my god, what's the dude's name? Lawrence Fishcole, something like that. Lawrence Fisher, referee. In Texas. Well, I'm not gonna find his name, but if you go back a few years, there was a PBC card there. Omar Figueroa versus somebody. They had a fight for on Fox, and it was the most bizarre thing ever because you had the referee who was like the son of one of the dudes on the board for the athletic commission, literally putting his hands on the fighters, but not to break it up, but like be like, you can't grab, and he would just grab their arm like mid punch and just like swing it down. It was the most bizarre thing. And it's like, dude, you're gonna get somebody hurt this way. And he's just like, whatever. Fuck you guys. This is Texas. I want to say it was the Antonio DeMarco fight. Hold up. Inspector, blah, 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 blah. You know, whatever. Point being, fuck Texas.
All right, man. Let's get to the nitty gritty.
We talk about how we don't have a light heavyweight champion anymore.
God, you know, it's really hard for me to talk about fights like this, and it sucks because in a perfect world, we would come on here on this show, and we could just talk about how great of a fight it was, and how entertaining it was, and how the fight, I guess for some people, surpassed expectations, and because I don't, I hate that the conversation of this fight is probably going to be more so about the judging and the shenanigans, at least I guess as we see it, and not so much about how good the fight was, but it's just, I can't not talk about it. So I'll just kind of jump into it. So I mean, if you guys listen to us, which you should, we both predicted, we've been saying for a while, that somebody was going to catch Jones, that the gap was slowly closing, and, he hasn't been he's still been winning, but he ain't been the same Jones as we've seen in the last couple years. And I posted this on Twitter and everywhere else, was telling people like Reyes definitely has a real chance to win this fight. I'm gonna just jump into it. So I rewatched this morning. When you're in the moment watching the fight, emotions are high and you got the crowd noise and it's just a lot going on. Sometimes you might lose sight of things. In real time, I thought I thought Reyes won 3-2. Emotions high. I'm feeling some kind of way about the decision. Whatever. It's like, you know what? I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to wake up in the morning. I'm going to use my never fail technique of when a fight is really close, rewatch it with the volume muted. And I'll see what really, really happened. And after rewatching this with the volume muted, I'm even more convinced that Reyes won this fight. Right. like yesterday, people had me, I was still confident that Reyes won, but, emotions are high, and some people are like, well, maybe I did miss something. Let me go back. No. Reyes won. This wasn't. It was clear to me. Now I'm feeling like after I watched this muted, now I'm questioning what everybody else saw. Now I'm feeling like I don't think we all saw the same. I feel like, and I'll preface all this I'm about to say, because it might come off a kind of way. I don't hate Jon Jones. I actually love watching Jon Jones fight. He's one of the few people who, when he fights, I normally buy his pay-per-views, even though I didn't buy this one because the rest of this card I didn't think was worthy of $60, but that's another story. But no, I really do enjoy watching him fight. So none of what I'm saying is hate that's directed towards Jones. It's just, when you were just watching the fight, feelings get high, and if you're a sports fan, you know what I'm talking about. But it's not directed, I'm not hating towards Jones. It's not about him. With that being said, I rewatched this fight muted. And the first 3 rounds I knew, these were the most important rounds I needed to rewatch. So let me make sure I did not miss anything. Round 1 was a clear Reyes round. I think he outstruck Jones 21-12, got out to a really quick start, landed some good power shots. He did what I thought he should do if he was to win this fight. He needed to steal rounds early because I wasn't sure how he'd do in rounds 4 and 5 if it went there, which we saw he slowed down. But off to a great start. Round 1, Dominic Reyes, most definitely. I see other people after this fight saying either round 2 or 3 were the swing rounds. I'm like, what? Did I miss something? Let me go back. Let me watch 2 and 3. I watched 2 and 3. The only thing swinging was Jon Jones doing the running man. What are we talking about?
Dude.
What was close? What are we talking about?
Dude, I thought I was going insane. People were giving Jones round 2. I'm like, that's the round where Reyes landed 3 straight lefts in a row, and that was enough to get Jon Jones to turn tail and run away.
Run! The same thing that we blast, and both of us blasted Gustafsson for doing when he does it. That running man is like, no, don't ever do that. He made Jon do that twice. So,
it wasn't like he lost the rest of the round after that, Reyes. Dude, it was competitive, don't get me wrong. Jones landed some nice kicks to the body, some nice leg kicks, but Reyes was investing in that left hand to the body. He countered one of Jones' naked leg kicks with probably the most significant strike of the round, and he outlanded him.
Yes, again, for the second round in a row. And I can't remember if it was the second or the third where Jones he went for a right hand and Reyes slipped it, caught him with a really nice uppercut.
That was the 4th round.
Okay.
Or third round.
Third round. So all right, but second, it was kind of not as dominant as the first, because like I said, Jones definitely made it competitive. I like his leg kicks. I like his body kicks. I think his boxing to me actually looked better than I thought it would. I thought he was actually going to get caught like reaching kind of a lot more than he did. But Reyes definitely landed the more significant shots. And I think another thing about this fight, I think some people, I think this is kind of an MMA problem. I don't notice it as much in other combat sports. It could be. Maybe I'm just not paying attention. But we kind of equate moving forward means I'm winning.
That's a strict MMA thing because it
Yeah.
doesn't happen in kickboxing and boxing.
And I think because we see Reyes obviously uses a lot of footwork, a lot of movement. He's never really he tries his best to not be like a standing target. And Jones is pretty much chasing them down the entire fight, that we equate, oh, Jones is chasing, he's pushing forward, so that automatically means he's winning. But if we look at when these exchanges are happening, Reyes is probably getting the better of most of these exchanges, and he's landing the harder shots. So round 2, I don't know what the swing is. I don't know what. No. No. Reyes round 2. Round 3 gets here. He still starts off good. I think he started to slow down a little bit towards the latter part of round 3. But even still, like when people say Jones might have won, I'm going back to look to see like, all right, what did he do really to win this round? Outside of, I just moved forward. And I don't see it. I think that was the round, like I said, he slipped Jones, caught him with a nice uppercut. I want to say he got him to back up a bit that round too. And like I said, outside of body kicks and leg kicks, I did not see it. I don't know what y'all were watching. I really don't. Those first 3 rounds to me were clearly Dominic Reyes rounds. And to be honest, he actually did better than the 4th than I thought he did.
Yeah,
but
dude, he hurt Jones.
Like
he hurt
started
him in
off
that opening minute.
Yeah. The one, I think, I'm not going to call it a fatal mistake. I think had he took the 4th round, there would have been absolutely no denying that he won this fight. I think the one thing that he did that kind of messed him up, he hurt Jones in the very beginning of the 4th, kind of got him to back up. And there was a quick moment where, like, I can't remember if Jones stepped in with an elbow. He did something, and they ended up, like, clinching. And Jones went for the inside, like, kind of step-in sweep thing to like, get Reyes down. And, like, he missed it. Or he couldn't get Reyes down. And Jones actually, like, fell forward to the ground. And in that, like, split second, I thought Reyes, I thought he should have just backed off and just disengaged. But he went for, like, a hammer fist while Jones's, like, head was still pointed down. And then Jones was able to, like, kind of regain himself, and he grabbed him. And that's when he got the takedown. And that was kind of the tide of the round kind of slowly started turning at that point. That was when you started to see, it was noticeable that Reyes was starting to slow down, and John was, I have to give John a lot of credit. Like, if you're going to beat John Jones, you got to be able to go all 5 hard, and I thought it was interesting. We mentioned that we wanted to see Jones get back to his wrestling. He was forced to get back to his wrestling because...
It did not work.
Yeah. When they were standing, he was... Like I said, I don't want to make it seem like it was a complete wipeout, because it was a very good fight. Like, Jones, like I said, he landed a lot of good body kicks. It's not like he didn't catch Reyes with some good shots. And during the 4th and 5th, he was able to keep up that pace more so than Reyes was. But there was a reason he was forced to go to those takedowns. And we haven't seen Jones really go for takedowns like that in a couple of fights now. And we've brought that up every time we've seen Jones fight. He's just been kind of willy-nilly having these just kickboxing matches. And he's getting takedowns, and at that point for Reyes, because he's slowing down, he's losing momentum. Longer periods are going by where he's not able to get off offense because he's just kind of being controlled. And even though the takedowns aren't really amounting to anything, because it's not like Jones took him down and kept him down, but, octagon control, that counts for something. So I see why in the later rounds you give John those rounds. But I don't see how I firmly believe that if this fight takes place in any other state, we have a new champ. Because I can't remember that judge's name, and I think they called that judge out a couple of times earlier tonight.
During the Murphy Lee fight, he just straight up wasn't watching.
Yeah.
I want to say his name was John Solis.
Something like that. I think Solis was his last name. They said he wasn't watching, and then at one point, like, he was just talking to, like, the athletic commissioner, and yeah, he was the one who scored it for John 49-46, which is insane. There's no way, even if you thought John won, John did not win 49-46.
Mm-hmm.
No way. Like, no way. Yeah, y'all, bro. I don't see how John. To me, this was even more convincing than the Santos Jones fight. Because the one thing Reyes did that I thought impressed me more, because I was worried about, like, his volume. Because sometimes he's not, like, super active even when he moves so much. But he actually kept a pretty good pace, at least for those first three, and then for part of the fourth. But after that, he started to dwindle a little bit. But I didn't think this was questionable. Like, it takes away from what was such a good fight. It just,
And if we're gonna go with the narrative that John Jones has not taken any of his recent fights seriously, like, you want him to lose this type of fight. You want him to have that fire to improve, because, like, I think we've talked about, like, he is regressing. Like, I feel comfortable saying that, because he is not. For all the things John Jones does well, range kickboxing is the least good of them. You feel me? Like,
yeah.
And for whatever reason, he's decided that this is the pathway he wants to go down for the rest of his career, where he gets away from the wrestling, and he gets away from the clinch fighting, because, like, clinch fighting is the best thing he does. He's the best clinch fighter in the history of the sport. But for whatever reason, he wants to be a range kickboxer, a volume kicker who uses leg kicks and, like, teeps to the stomach to keep his opponent at bay. Like, it really sucks that he keeps. I don't even want to say being given these, like, close fights, because, like, this is, like, knowing who John Jones is and his, like, as long as John Jones is winning fights, he does not, like, I don't think he sees a problem. I think he thinks like the rest of us, where he's like, oh, I didn't win this because I didn't train all that much. I didn't take it all that serious. You know what I mean? Like, that's the vibe I get from Jones, where he's just like, he's happy doing just enough to get by because it means he can go party and still collect the big checks, and he's still the champ and he's still undefeated. But, like, he should have lost his last two fights. Like, and maybe that's the thing that reignites a flame under his ass. He gets back to, or he changes things up, because honest to God, I think Winklejohn is not doing him any favors.
Yeah. And this is so, it's so frustrating on so many levels, because it was such a good fight, but it's just, I can't ignore the fact that it's like, bro, he shouldn't. If y'all want to take the Santos fight, whatever. I'm gonna disagree with you, but all right, whatever. Have that one. This one, to me, this was clear. Like, this was clear. Those first 3 rounds were definitely Reyes. I didn't think it was, like, they were competitive, but I feel pretty comfortable saying he won those. The fact that people say those were swing rounds, I'm like, outside of moving forward, like, please tell me what he did to win those. Outside of I'm just moving forward, because I didn't see it. Maybe I'm missing something. Feel free to leave a comment. Outside of moving forward in those first 3 rounds, we'll give him the last 2. Those were Jones rounds. I'm not going to dispute them. Yeah.
And I want to give him Jones credit there because dude is the best conditioned athlete at 205 and above, and it shows in his fights where he's able to break guys down over the last couple in the championship rounds.
Mm-hmm.
So props to Jones for that. But
I'll give him props too. A lot of attributes you hear about Jones is just his creativity and the wrestling when he does decide to use it, and leg kicks and all that. But he is tough. Like he is. I don't think his toughness gets enough credit. He can go some hard, just grueling rounds and still, in that fourth and fifth round, find a way to just like you have to put me away to win. Like I'm not willingly gonna just fade to black. Like you better put me away because I'm still gonna be here in front of your face. And he never stopped moving forward. I'll give him credit for that. Like he ate a lot of shots, but in that fourth and fifth, like he still never stopped moving forward. He still was. I'm full speed ahead. I got to do what I got to do. And like I said, he definitely put in the fourth and fifth, put Reyes in some bad spots. Was able to control him with takedowns. Was still effective with his body kicks and leg kicks. Just able to just capitalize. Like I said, John Jones is one of the smartest fighters, if not the smartest fighter, like in the UFC. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He doesn't give you a lot to really go on. And if you slow down, I think anybody not Reyes might have gotten finished. I do feel like he was. I don't know if urgent is the right word, but I felt like in the Smith fight, like he was kind of like coasting. Like, I know I'm going to win this. And, I mean, he did. But I think in this fight, he knew, like, I kind of got to snap. I kind of got to make this happen. Because I think this fight ended up going a lot closer than what he thought it would. I don't think he envisioned this fight going a hard 5 rounds where he was really going to have to kind of dig really deep and pull out the win. But
yeah, and I don't know. We talked enough about how good Reyes was in this, especially like in those first 3 rounds and the first couple minutes of the second round. Like takedown defense on point.
Mm-hmm.
When he doubled up on that left hand, he sent Jones running every time he did it. Like really great kicking game. Like there was a sequence where and I don't know if you were on Tumblr with me and Joey, but we were talking about like Jones. They're just part of the reason why I say Jones's range kickboxing is the worst part of his game, and I'm confused as to why he keeps doing it, is because there are just moments where he looks just terribly uncomfortable, like just striking with somebody, like he's not used to people hitting him in the gym. So when he comes to the cage and somebody's actually able to put hands on him, like it just throws off his entire his stance breaks, his footwork breaks, and there are just sequences where he just straight up looks away from his opponent. I mentioned one earlier where at the beginning of the second round where he just straight up turns tail and runs away from Reyes as Reyes goes in distance. But there was a sequence where Reyes landed a head kick. It was specifically he only lands the head kick because Reyes throws the left hand. I want to say he switches stances in the process. Jones ducks far to his right and starts to like bail out. He takes his eyes completely off of Reyes, and Reyes just hits him with like not the foot or not the shin, but like the little like his ankle basically,
Mm-hmm.
like that same area. And it's just like there are like a lot of moments like that. For John, where it's just like okay. My first layer of defense got broken, and now I'm resorting to either having to try to push the guy away while I run away, and hopefully they run into my hand, like their eyes magically fall into my fingers, and I poke them and I get my break, or like he's really just flailing about a little bit, and props to Reyes and his team because they really realized that if they could just double up on one side, or just enter on a kick, they could really just exploit the fact that Jones really does not have a second layer of defense. Really good work with that lead right hand too, like just clearing, because that's the thing that Jones uses to brace on everybody. Like he threw it more here, but when was the last time you saw John Jones throw a meaningful strike with his right hand? Not an elbow, like his right hand, like a cross or uppercut or a hook or something.
He flails it a lot.
Right?
That's the
like
that's the wide overhand swing that he does sometimes.
Like I think he's right-handed, but for whatever reason, he is a left-handed. Like he is a left side fighter. Like kicks, punches, clinch entries. Everything starts from the left hand for him, like the left side. Like he does not throw that right straight with any type of consistency. So like there were just sequences where like Reyes would circle all the way to John Jones's right, and John Jones didn't do anything about it because like what's he gonna do? He doesn't throw the right hand. Like there were a couple instances where he threw a body kick, but like those were few and far between. And Reyes really exploited that to land his left hand.
Oh, boy. I feel like we could talk about this fight for... This fight could be the whole podcast.
I wrote a whole thing about like the weaknesses in Jones's game yesterday, and I posted some of it. I didn't post all of it. One, because Tumblr sucks for like long form, but like two, I was at work when I was when I was posting it, and I didn't get home until like 9 o'clock, and the fight's already started. So I'm like, I'm not gonna post this while everybody's watching the fights.
Boy.
But like, what a performance from Reyes and I guess Jones. Like,
overall it was a great fight, and I hate that I don't want that to get lost in everything else. Like at the end of the day, we want to see great championship fights, and that was a great championship fight.
Yeah.
But we all know who won that.
Yeah. So I'm curious, Sensei. We might get a rematch. I don't know. Probably not right away anyway. But I think it's safe to say Reyes is for real. And if he gets, a good win, like against a Glover Teixeira type, they might run it back.
I feel like he should get an immediate. They're not gonna give it to him, but he should.
I mean, Dana did say he scored the fight for Reyes.
Yeah, I think they should double up and just run this back. We can get this before the end of the year.
Yeah. What would not advice, but if you were in Jones's camp, what would you look at as like, okay, this is what we have to fix? And if you were in Reyes' camp, how do you make sure that Reyes doesn't throw the fight away on the cards?
If I'm Jones, I think we saw a little bit of it, even though he wasn't able to do much of it. I think he needs to slow Reyes down. Like, you got to stop all this footwork and all this. Reyes is just always moving somewhere. I think he needs to mix in his wrestling a bit more. I think that's what he's, and albeit it's gonna be easier said than done because that we've seen that takedown defense is it's real. But like, even if you can just kind of, you got get ready for a long fight. You're probably gonna go 5 again. Even if you can just clinch against the cage, slow him down, get some elbows going against the cage, still go for your takedowns. You might not get him, but make him work. You gotta make him work. You don't make it such a gung-ho kickboxing fight because you're gonna get tagged with that left. He's gonna slip you and catch you with an uppercut, and don't ever do that little backpedal run again. Don't ever do that. We've seen that can end in disaster. But I would just say, it's not like he didn't have something going, but I just think he needs to he has to find ways to slow Reyes down. I think just mixing in more of his takedowns, push Reyes up against the cage, get some good clinch work in, find ways to slow the fight down and just kind of steal rounds. Because if you can wear on Reyes, as we've seen, and I don't know, maybe this gets fixed between now and then. I don't know if it will, but you can slow him down in that 4th and 5th. And if you can slow him down in the 4th and 5th, imagine wearing him down early in the first 3, and maybe in that 4th round you actually get a takedown where you can keep him down. That's over. Jones gets you in mount. Bye. Just you can go ahead. You might as well just tap because you're probably about to get elbowed to death, or you'll get elbowed. You'll turtle up. He'll submit you. Something's bad gonna happen. It's not gonna end well for you.
Right.
If I'm Reyes, it's hard to say because I feel like you should have won. Like I feel like you did what you needed to do. If I'm Reyes, I don't know between now and the next fight how much you can really. It's not like his cardio was terrible. Like I don't want to throw that out there. Like it's a hard fight. You're gonna slow down at some point.
Well, like that, and this is John Jones's game. Like his game is made to make you slow down over the course of 5 rounds, and like by the end of it, you look like Anthony Smith. Like my one of the things, if I'm Reyes, is I try. We talk about that sequence where John Jones ran away. At the beginning of the second, there were a couple more instances, none as drastic as that first one. One thing I'd like to see more out of Reyes is more body shots early. He did land quite a few, but like there were sequences where he was chasing Jones's head, and Jones would either frame out or like we said, ran away, or he would like. There was a nice sequence where well, not nice, but like during that sequence, Jones did a good job of slipping all those punches and ducking underneath them along the fence.
Yeah, because he was headhunting.
Yeah, because he was headhunting. If Reyes had chose to attack the body in those sequences, it might have freed up the head, might have been able to score a knockdown out of that. Because it seemed pretty clear that Jones was not comfortable. Another thing is, I think he moved, so this is going to sound weird because the lateral movement is part of the reason why Jones had so much trouble kicking him in the first 3 rounds, but I think he moved too much.
Is it like the Zabit effect?
Kind of.
Somewhat.
Like, where, like, it's not that his lateral movement was, like, but for example, in the second round, there was a thing where he's along the fence and Jones goes for like a side kick, and he runs like 10. Well, he doesn't run, but he circles out like 10 feet to his right as Jones is like kicking. And it's like, dude, you could have circled out like 2 feet or even like a foot, or a step or whatever to your right.
And got right back into it.
And just countered. Like there were a few instances like that where I'm just like, well, you're not gonna capitalize on every counter, but like this seems like something you should have drilled down. And like you're wasting all this extra energy, and you're not getting anything out of it because all you're doing is resetting. I think that's a big thing. In MMA in general, but specifically with everybody who John Jones fights, they're so. Not desperate, but they're so anxious about John Jones taking them down, or the volume that John Jones throws, that anytime they have a chance to escape, they'll try to take every opportunity to get as far away as possible. And you don't need to do that. Like, how often do you ever see boxers like more than like a couple feet away from one another? You feel me? Like,
right.
You don't have to reset every time John Jones throws something. And to be fair, Santos and Reyes and Gus in that first fight, when they were being pressured, their instinct wasn't always to run away. Like there were sequences where they just like, oh, he's throwing, I'm going to blitz back, because like he threw the one strike he's going to throw in this instance. I'm going to throw my 3 or 4. And it worked for them. Just didn't do it enough. So like those are 2 things I could see. Like I'd really like to see him take the center more. I feel like he did a good job whenever the fight was in the center of the cage. He likes to drift back so that he can catch guys like, reaching. I don't think he has to do that along the fence. I think he can do that in the center with Jones. And if not, Jones is there to be hit. That's the other thing. If he threw, I was waiting for like a 1-2 at any point in this fight from Reyes, and I know we don't get that a lot in open stance in MMA. When one guy's a southpaw and the other one's right-handed, but like if he could occupy Jones's lead hand with his right hand, like the left was going to be there, because you see that a lot. Like that's the combination everybody lands on Jones, whether it be overhand or like a straight cross, because Jones will, like I said, Jones only throws from one side, and if you occupy his lead hand by making him like catch a jab or something, he's there to be hit. He does not move his head all that well like when he's framing.
He's more likely to step back rather than to like
bob
like to the left or right.
Yeah, and it's like if he's stepping back, he's probably not going to throw anything, because everything he throws is with the intention of pushing you back. Like you might see like an instance where he throws like a random like elbow, or he tries to shove you, but like those are instances you can plan for or anticipate. So those are some things I would see Reyes do.
Hopefully.
Also, double up on that left hand more, because he did it like 3 or 4 times, and every single time it worked, but I don't think he did it enough.
Yeah, I would say, like, if you can take the center, like, Reyes is pretty good at being able to slip and counter. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see, I mean, he did land it, and I got to give Jones credit, but he got a chin, he can eat a shot.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to see a moment if you could catch... Because Jones is smart, so he doesn't get caught in these kind of instances. But I'm trying to just imagine a scenario where if Reyes is able to take the center, and even if for a split second you could get Jones to just overcommit, but if you could catch that counter with that left and it be like clean, just I feel like good things can happen. But hopefully we get to see this again. I think this should be like an immediate rematch. I don't want to see Reyes fight no other. I think we just need to run this back. Y'all so gung ho about giving everybody else rematches. Why not this one?
I really hope we don't get like a Gus situation where we have to wait until like we have to wait basically 7 years for a rematch.
Right. And then by the time we get it, it's like,
Well, I guess in this instance, it'd be Jones who'd be the one who'd be like,
right.
Because he's got more mileage on him.
Yeah. But, amazing fight, man. It was a really great fight, but Reyes 1-2-3.
I'm so upset because our prediction would have came true.
Right. It should have. This is the year we said in 2020 he would lose it, so... And I'll give Jones credit. He's probably one of the more active champs. He does, when he's not in trouble, he tries to keep the ball rolling in terms of fighting. So I'm pretty confident, as long as he stays out of trouble, that we'll see him again before the end of the year. I just hope it's against Reyes and not somebody else.
I will say I'm interested in the Corey Anderson fight. I just want to see how it looks, because like. For besides Anthony Smith, how many guys who Jones has fought who are actually his size? I guess this applies to Jan Blachowicz too, and could box even remotely decently, has right. Jones just straight up beat the shit out of. Right?
Right. We'll see. I gotta watch some more footage on Corey. I gotta go back and watch some of his other.
I'll give Corey Anderson this. He has won every moment. Well, not every moment, but He's won basically every round of every fight that he's been in that he hasn't been knocked down in.
We'll see.
The funniest fucking thing.
He has gotten a lot better though.
He's on a great run. Like these last 4 fights, the Glover fight was boring, but like the Latifi fight, he showed like some real confidence in the pocket, and against Walker, didn't bite on any of those fakes and just planted his feet into that overhand.
Steamrolled that man.
Like Manua, Shogun, he was beating Shogun for basically the entirety of the fight until the end of like 2 rounds where he got knocked out off the left hook. OSP, he was beating him until he caught the head kick. I don't remember the Volante fight, but I want to say he was winning that before he caught the punches that put him down. But yeah, no, like I don't know what to expect from Blachowicz Anderson. But you know what? I'm interested in either one of those guys fighting Jones now because I think Jones is at a point in his career where he's just like he's gonna have a competitive fight out every single time now if the other guy is game.
And Corey, I think Corey's definitely game. As much as I know people might not be like a fan favorite, but if you've been keeping a close eye on him, he's been. I don't think confidence is lacking in him. I think he feels like he has that chip on his shoulder. Like he feels like he doesn't get that respect that people should give him. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But amazing. Go ahead.
Imagine if Corey Anderson beats John Jones.
See, I wanted it to be Reyes. I'm a Reyes fan. But if Corey got to be the one to do it, oh well, man. What? I ain't going to hate on you.
I mean, he just proved the superiority of New Jersey over New York, so I'm with it. I'm with it.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
Man down. But John Jones won a 5-round decision.
I'm happy we spent so much time talking about this fight because I have nothing for the rest of this card.
The rest of this ain't a whole. Yeah, not a lot to talk about the rest of this card, but amazing title fight. John Jones won the unanimous decision. Passes GSP's record of was it most title fights, right?
Most wins in a title fight, yes.
So congrats to John Jones on that front, even though
he didn't.
You didn't win that. But according to the record books, you did, so I got to give you props for it. But keeping an eye, hope we get that rematch, man. But amazing fight, nonetheless. If you missed it, definitely go back and watch it. That was a great fight. And it proved that Reyes deserved to be in that fight for anybody who may have had doubts.
It's amazing. That's like this. How many times is that now? Where like Jones gets somebody who nobody wants to see, or people think don't. Well, I guess more people thought Jones had a chance against or Reyes had a chance against Jones after the Santos fight than they did. Thinking Gus had a chance against Jones after he fought Evans.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, we tried to tell y'all though.
I mean, like people thought that Jones was going to style on Santos. Santos arguably gave him the toughest fight of his career up to that point. People thought Jones was going to style on Gus. Didn't. People thought Jones was going to style on Reyes. He lost.
Tried to tell y'all. But moving on, because I could spend a whole episode just talking about that fight.
It'd be
moving
fun,
on,
but...
right? now we got to go to the other stuff that it's mildly entertaining. But to the next title fight on the card, women's flyweight champion Valentina Shevchenko defended her title against Caitlin Chukagian. I mean, it's not much to say. There's a reason that Chukagian was like a
14-1 underdog.
Yeah. There was a reason.
She is basically a lesser version of Valentina, except she throws more volume. Like, and I would be shocked if like Valentina Shevchenko loses to somebody who just throws like volume strikes, because like her game is specifically designed to just counter the shit out of people who try to do that.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, there's not a whole lot here to talk about. Got her down in the first round, hit her with a nice spinning heel kick in the second round to the face. In the third round, bullied her, got her down and out of there, right? Like,
Yeah. But busted her open, I think, in the first with the elbow.
oh yeah, that was nice.
Had her leaking with the elbow.
I'll say this: I'm cool with Shevchenko just being given women to fight, because Chikaya is not a bad fighter. Um, hell, Liz Carmouche isn't a bad fighter. Just give her people she can, or build these fights up in a way that Shevchenko is just fighting these hyper aggressive ass women, because that's where like your finishes are gonna come from. Like against Jessica I, for example. I know where I was going with this thought. Yeah, no. Thank you, Valentina Shevchenko, for not doing what you normally do and stalling out the fight.
Caught him with some nice leg kicks. When she threw the axe kick, I was like, oh. Even though like she didn't like land it, I was like, oh, she's comfortable in there.
Yeah.
The end is near. The end is very near. It was wild because I didn't even really take into account, like, we all know Shevchenko has a ground game. She's like one of the most well-rounded fighters in this entire sport. But I just assumed that she would just stand and counter. And
Yeah, she's basically taken down everybody she's fought. Holly Holm, Sarah Kaufman. She did it against Amanda Nunes in their first fight. But
yeah, after like the first 45 seconds to like a minute, I was like, I don't know how Chikagian wins this. You got the length and volume, but it's just not it. It ain't. This ain't it, Chief. I don't know what you need something. Whoever beat Shevchenko, you're gonna need like a special kind of attribute about you. Like Chukagian's like really solid everywhere, but not like really great in any one department. And couple that with like not having really like knockout power, like you don't really give Shevchenko a lot that she has to worry about. Like, yeah, not a lot of technical breakdown. Took her down that third, got the crucifix, elbowed her, beat her up. The rough saved her from further punishment. That was it. Not really a lot of deep dive.
I can't wait for Roxy to get her. Oh god, that's gonna be sad. Gonna be sad. I mean, I guess it's Joanne Calderwood, right?
Yeah, I guess.
She beat Lee. Like I said, I'm cool with Shevchenko just fighting in co-main events against like just the next woman up if that's what they can do.
Hey, man, you can only fight who's in front of you.
Yeah.
Only fight who's in front of you. So one of these little young whippersnapper prospects comes blasting through the ranks at some point.
But like, there's such a so the only fighters who I think are athletically even remotely close to being able to hang with Valentina Shevchenko are Viviane Araujo and like Macy Barber. And Macy Barber is probably never ever going to be actually good just because her family's fucking insane. And like we just saw Viviane lose to Jessica I, so she is probably a couple years away from being ready. So prepare for the slog, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long murderer's row before we get somebody who's actually ready to like actually really step up. But good luck. Y'all have fun with that one. Valentina Shevchenko defends her title again, further solidifying the reason I put her on my list of one of the best fighters on the planet. She's that good. The gap between her and the rest of that division is just yikes. Big yikes. But she wins as expected. Impressive finish. Congrats to her. Moving on to a fight that did not last very long. A fight that alarmed me when I saw it was on the main card, to be honest. Justin Tafa versus Juan Adams.
Why is this card fight on the main card?
Yeah. First thought when I saw this fight, it's like, bro, y'all want me to pay $60 to see this on the main card? No disrespect to either of them, but if I'm buying a pay-per-view and I'm seeing two heavyweights fight, these aren't the two names I had in mind I'd be paying money to watch. But I mean, congrats to Justin Tafa. Put hands on Adams, caught him with like overhand right, landed a couple lefts, and then he ended up landing that nasty uppercut that just floored poor Juan Adams. Feel bad for Adams, man. You losing like your hometown. Yeah, not good, man. Gotta feel for the dude. That's gotta suck.
Why Adams fights like a middleweight? It's like he like from the early 2010s.
I don't really have.
That's my only observation about this fight.
All I got from this fight, my takeaway. I think Juan needs to go to some smaller organizations. I don't think he's a UFC ready product yet. And I think he needs to go to some smaller organizations, take some other fights, just build up some more experience, and maybe, try to go on a win streak out there, and then try to like fight your way back to the UFC. I don't think he's quite UFC caliber yet. I don't think he's UFC caliber yet. But good one for Tafa. Anytime you can uppercut people like that, you got a chance to win. So, shout outs to him. Shout outs to him. Like I said, I don't really have a really good technical breakdown of that fight. But on to the next fight that was actually pretty interesting. I don't know if you have any thoughts on Dan Ige and Mirsad Bektic. Of the fights on the main card that were not the title fights, this was probably easily the best matchup on paper, at least. And I would say it played out that way. We got a very close able fight. Ige looked really sharp in the first, man. Putting all kinds of hands on Bektic. That sequence where I forgot what happened when Bektic he ended up on the ground and like he was in the motion of getting back up. And Ige just threw like 3 bombs while he was trying to get back up, and they all sounded like they hurt incredibly bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ige looked really good in that first round. Second round, I think Bektic kind of woke up, started getting more of his game rolling, and was able to get takedowns. Well, I'll just outright say it. Do you think the right person won?
I am drawing a blank on the third round. I remember the first 2 rounds, but for whatever reason, I don't remember the third round very well. Probably because I watched it at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I will say, from like what I do remember about the first 2 rounds, I've never seen somebody who is more uncomfortable winning a fight than Mirsad Bektic. Because like it's one thing when he's winning the fight, like how he wants to win the fight, like just take you down, grind you out, beat you up from the top, having a submission. But like, if you force him to do anything else, he looks uncomfortable. Like, remember when he was beating the crap out of Darren Elkins? But he was like, I need to wrestle. I have this, like, he has this compulsion to just wrestle. I'm watching highlights of the third round, or I'm skipping through it anyway.
I remember in the third he got takedowns on Ige.
He did, but did he like? I know he went for another arm triangle, I believe. But like, I want to say Ige beat him up on the feet.
It's possible. Yeah, that third round for me is a little bit of a blur.
Yeah, no,
but
like
it was a good competitive fight. There was some crazy like little ground scrambles and and
I
things
will.
going on.
I will say, Ige, if we want to go like career trajectory wise, Ige has improved way more since coming into the UFC than Mirsad Bektik has.
Yeah, my immediate thought after this fight was like, I remember a time when we were really excited about Bektik as like a prospect,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of feel like that hype has died down a lot.
Yeah.
It has really died down a lot, and Ige on the opposite end is gaining some pretty good steam. Still a really tough division to rise in the ranks in because the talent pool is so deep, but he's making improvements that you would like to see. I don't know how high Ige's ceiling is, but I think at the very least we'll get some fun fights out of it. We'll get some fun fights out of it. Well, out of him, I should say. But yeah, I don't really have a big deep dive into that fight. It was a pretty competitive fight, back and forth. Bektik getting the better the second. Ige definitely winning the first. Third round, I don't know, pick your poison. But regardless, then Ige gets the win over Mirsad Bektik via split decision. Oh, this next fight. The fight that kicked off the card.
The fight we wanted, but was bad.
I was entertained. I expected shenanigans. I think my expectations were just right for the fight, so I wasn't too mad at how it turned out. Derek Lewis versus Ilir Latifi, the fight that none of us asked for, but we got it. I don't know. Derek Lewis threw flying knees. I want to say he threw a teep kick. Well, I'll say in a moment of seriousness, I'll give Latifi credit. That man got a chin. I can't remember what round that was. I think it was the third round, where Derek Lewis caught Latifi with a nasty uppercut.
Yep.
And a lot of people probably would have died. And he ate it. He ate it like a champ. So props to Latifi for that sturdy neck. Kind of held his head on his shoulders. This was a sloppy heavyweight fight. Lewis trying to throw bombs every so often. Latifi, give him credit, able to take Lewis down. Didn't do a ton with.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I know Lewis has been thinning out, and he's been doing like some like weird therapy for his back. You gotta stop, bro. You need to be round.
Right. You lost the ability to just get up.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, this should have been the one guy. You definitely should have been able to just, I'm gonna just get off me. Like, get off me, bro. I don't know. Latifi did better and worse than I thought he would at the same time. Definitely caught some hands. Blocked a lot of the shots, but you could tell just like the power difference. But definitely was surprised at how much he was able to take Lewis down and even kind of hold him there, even though he didn't do a lot of damage on the ground. But
yeah,
just able to just kind of take him and hold him, and Lewis didn't really do himself any favors.
What really surprised me, like we knew that Lewis was like quick, like surprisingly quick for like a round man like that. Like not like God, how you phrase it? Like he is some really quick strikes, I should say. Like, you know, the flying knees, the jumping roundhouse kicks. I did not expect him to be faster than Latifi, because Latifi has that like explosive power, like speed, and he was by like a lot, like to the point where it looked like Latifi, like I don't, maybe because Latifi's like 30. Latifi came in at like 246 pounds.
Yep.
Yeah, so like maybe that's slowing him down a bit, as opposed to just, you know, him being like, oh, I don't have to cut the weight anymore. And I'm faster for it. It's just like, oh no, I'm heavier now, so it takes even longer for me to move. But I really don't have much to say on this one because it's mostly just boring.
It was a heavyweight fight. Yeah, like at this point, guys, You know what a heavyweight fight is, man.
I'm upset that I'm happy that Latifi was able to get Lewis down. I'm not happy that he did not try to suplex him even once. That's some bullshit.
We got no suplex, and we got no I'ma just get up defense. So we all lost. We didn't get what we paid for. Well, I put paid in quotes. But it's a heavyweight fight, man. I don't know. But Derek Lewis won, gave a great post-fight speech. Let y'all know that he y'all can buy him shots, but he ain't buying y'all nothing. That was one of the moments of the night for me. But Derek Lewis gets a unanimous decision win over Alir Latifi. I don't even know if I mentioned earlier that Danny Ige got the split decision over Masai Bektik. I can't remember if I said that or not. Okay. All right. So that was the main card. The title fights pretty much made this main card. Like, a lot of this card, it was entertaining. Like, there weren't a lot of fights that I, like, hated. Not really any. Like, even the prelims were actually pretty fire. The thing is, like, just for a pay-per-view, a lot of these fights were, like, just kind of inconsequential. Like, there were good moments, like, they were entertaining, but just for a pay-per-view, I want a little more.
Tafa versus Adams is, like, the most insulting pay-per-view fight I think I've ever seen. except for CM Punk, but at least CM Punk is, like, we knew that was novelty. That was circusry. This was like a dude who hadn't won a fight in the UFC, who was 3-1 versus a guy coming off of 2 losses in the UFC, who was 1-2 in the UFC.
I guess, because he's from Houston, so I don't know why the UFC does that. They put all the hometown guys and try to throw them on the main card, and I don't know. But, like, it was an entertaining main card, but outside of the main event and the co-main, you got entertaining performances, but I feel like the only story really is just Ige's, like, continued, I guess, improvement. But a lot of this was just kind of like, meh. Like, it was cool, but all right, that happened, whatever. But entertaining nonetheless, I guess, but just kind of inconsequential at the same time. But an entertaining main card, I guess, nonetheless. So take it or leave it, however you feel. But great title fight from Jones and Reyes. So if you missed that, definitely give that a look. Prelim spotlight. I think you only saw one of these, right?
No,
two.
I saw the last 2.
All right, I'll let you do your shout outs first since you only saw just a few.
Oh no! Wait, I'm sorry. I saw Chaos Williams too. So I saw the last 3.
I'll let you go.
Okay, so first off, Lauren Murphy versus Andrea Lee. Really good competitive fight. Good God, neither one of these women moves their head at all when they throw punches. And yeah, whatever. That makes for fun, entertaining blood sport, I guess. Murphy improved a little bit with her boxing, like really solid use of the jab. This was the most I think we've seen Andrea Lee just straight up like kickbox in like a while, like maybe since like she beat up Shannon Sin in like Invicta. And she's preferred to grapple. She's preferred to take her opponents down. I don't know if she just didn't want to tie up with Lauren Murphy. But it was a competitive fight. I personally thought Andrea Lee won. But I don't think I was paying too much attention at that point because I had just got home. It was a good competitive fight. Props to Murphy for sticking because there was a part in the fight where like Murphy was like getting tagged hard and she kept through it. So props to her for that. And the other fight I will shout out. Just because Alex Morono's my boy, I'm gonna shout out Chaos Williams, who just established himself in the hierarchy of the mid-tier welterweight violence division. Basically by doing exactly what Alex Morono does, except he's faster and hits a little harder. So Basically just that. Freaking, they both close distance on one another, get in a pocket fight, and Williams just refuses to stop throwing bombs. tags Morono hard with a left hook that he did not see coming, and backs Morono up while throwing like 6 or 7 like big sweeping hooks, and just puts him out. So props to Chaos Williams. Like, I don't know if you'll be good, but you're gonna be welcome here because we're gonna see you fight like Nico Price or something. Those are my two.
And quick note on Chaos. I can't remember what his nickname is, but drop the nickname.
Fighter.
Drop the nickname, bro. Chaos Williams is a dope name.
Chaos Williams is a dope name.
Dope. Whatever that little nickname, drop that, man. Just Chaos Williams is enough. Like, you hear that name, and you know.
Dude, this dude had like 15 amateur fights. That's weird, because he fights like somebody who literally just started fighting like a few years ago.
I don't know. Never seen Morono get like blitzed like that.
He's normally the dude doing the blitzing.
Yeah, that was impressive. I definitely enjoyed that. My 2 shout outs, man. Actually, you know what? Real quick before I mention mine, because I'm on Tapology. Fights that we lost on this card that we could have got: Marlon Vera versus Jimmy Rivera. That would have kicked this card up such another notch. We got that fight, and we lost. Morono should have been fighting Diego Lima, but I guess it panned out because we got Chaos, and we could have had OSP versus Ryan Spann, which I think would have greatly improved the quality of this card had we got those fights. Just wanted to throw that out there. But my prelim spotlight, I have to give a shout out to James Krause versus Trevin Giles.
Yep.
Bro, just like literally a day before that fight, I think James Krause was supposed to be a corner man and ended up being in the cage. Took a fight on 1 day notice, no training camp, going up a weight class. And you may be able to argue that he might have won that fight. Yeah. Because he spent, I think the first round, didn't he have Giles' back and was going for like that choke?
For like 3.5 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, you could argue that he won that fight. First round, he spends most of the round going for a submission. I think, my memory's a little hazy, but I want to say he got tagged a little bit in the second. And I mean, you could tell like conditioning was a factor. Obviously, with no training camp, 1 day's notice, like he probably couldn't go as hard as he, obviously he normally could have. But definitely ate some shots, and you could just hear the power discrepancy. But from what I remember in that third round, he landed some. He was starting to come on a little bit. Like, Giles had definitely slowed down. Krause made it really competitive. I don't know what the strike differential was, but I want to say I feel like Krause definitely landed more. And you could definitely argue that Krause won that fight on 1 day's notice, but judging in Houston, in Texas, so it strikes again. It strikes again. But ultimate props to James Krause. He definitely gets a prelim shout-out spotlight for taking a fight on 1 day's notice. Just being able to go up a weight class, make it competitive. Arguably, he won. That's insane. He needs some kind of an award or something for that. That's craziness. I don't know if it's healthy. I don't know if he should have been cleared to do it, but it happened.
Probably not.
Yeah. Don't know if that should have happened.
I hope he gets more than his purse. Like, I know he got the bonus, but like I hope he got like a signing bonus or something for taking that fight, because like you said, that's probably not healthy.
Yeah, not healthy at all.
Like, he took a beating in that second round.
Mm-hmm. He ate a lot of hard shots, but super just mad props and respect to James Krause. Even though Giles did win the split decision, but James Krause was like the people's champ of that card. So I'll give a prelim shout outs to him. Shout out to Journey Newsom for putting that right hand on Domingo Pilarte and sending him to the Shadow Realm. And last quick prelim shout-outs to Yusef, the very first fight on the card, Yusef Zalal versus Austin Lingo. Got to give my LFA guys a shout-out. This is one of the fights I was actually really most looking forward to. Zalal was able to take Lingo down, kind of beat him up, wear him out. I always support the LFA guys, so I was really looking forward to that fight. So shout-outs to Yusef. Looks like he'll be a pretty fun guy to watch. Not sure how high his ceiling will be, but we'll see. But just to run back the prelims as a whole, Trevin Giles split decision over James Krause. Lauren Murphy split decision over Andrea Lee. Chaos Williams TKO over Alex Morono. Mario Batista, who flying kneed Miles John. He won that one. Journey Newsom, overhand right KO over Domingo Pilarte. Andre Ewell and Jonathan Martinez. Andre Ewell won via split decision. I cannot remember how I felt about the judge in that one because that fight is hazy to me right now. But I remember it being fun. And then Yusef Zalal, unanimous decision over Austin Lingo. The prelims were fire. Like, if you have ESPN Plus, you can go back and watch them. Like I said, not in terms of like star power and like major storylines and implications. Not a lot to go on in the prelims, but just from an entertainment perspective, these were all like really fun fights to watch. So, and we got some good KOs like Newsom killing Pilarte, the flying knee from Batista, the finish from Chaos. Like the prelims were on fire. Like dudes were really coming to perform. So I got to give everybody on the prelims a shout out. Everybody really came and was looking to put on a really good show, which had me really worried when the main card started with a heavyweight fight because I was like, all the energy in this building is about to get sucked out. But nah, man, prelims were fire, so definitely give those a watch if you haven't. Overall, it was a solid card. Like we lost a lot of fights that could have happened on this card. It wasn't the highest quality of a pay-per-view that you would like to see, but I'll give people props, at least at the very least, for what it was on paper. The fights turned out, for the most part, pretty entertaining. And then it ended with a really great, we got a great title performance from Shevchenko, and then a really great fight from Reyes and Jones, albeit should have ended with Reyes getting his hand raised, but whatever. Overall, it was an entertaining night of fights, for what it was. Not worth $64, but entertaining nonetheless. So that was UFC 247. If you missed it, go back and give it a watch, man. There were actually a lot of good fights on here. Like I said, might not mean a lot in terms of big picture outside of the title fights, but they were entertaining nonetheless. So that was UFC 247. Give it a look if you missed it. All right. So this is kind of weird because we normally don't do the show in this format. But now we'll get into news and fight announcements. We'll start with fight announcements. And then we'll get into news, and then we'll close out after that. So fight announcements, I have a decent amount. I'll run through these real quick. If we want to expand on any of these, we can. The first fight I have written down, this is not official as of yet, but it is reportedly being eyed and may take place at some point in July. Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal. At UFC Portland, we'll have Alistair Overeem versus Walt Harris, and also we will have Michelle Waterson versus Carla Esparza. At UFC Lincoln, we'll have Anthony Smith versus Glover Teixeira. At UFC Brooklyn, Jeremy Stevens versus Calvin Kattar. At UFC Auckland, we'll have Angela Hill versus Loma Luke Bunmi. I'm probably saying that all wrong. That's an awesome fight because I think that's I think Angela Hill's a replacement for somebody, I want to say. But anywho, over at Bellator 243, we'll have Ryan Bader versus Vadim Nemkov, which is a fight I know you mentioned that you wanted to see. We wanted to see Nemkov get his title shot, so we'll get to see that. At Bellator 241, we'll have Paul Daly versus Saba Hamasi. At One Championship, I don't know the name of the event, but it's One Championship, and I think it'll be on May 29th. Brandon Vera will be defending his heavyweight title against Arkin Bular. At Ryzen 21, two former UFC combatants will be competing. We'll have Masanori Kanehara versus Victor Henry, and we'll also have Naoki Inoue versus Trent Girdham. Once again, that's at Rising 21. And at Aries FC2, I don't know where this is broadcasted or how you can watch it, but because we had mentioned his name anytime we talk about flyweight, John Moraga is back on the scene. John Moraga will be facing Hector Sandoval, and also former UFC fighter Nordine Taleb will be facing off against Martin Wouters. Once again, at Aries FC2, wherever that is. Any of those fights you care to give a brief bullet point on?
Angela Hill versus Loma Lugbume is going to be fun. I'm interested. I'm interested because I don't think we've seen a lot of like Lugbume's range striking so far. Like, it's a bit off her just beating the shit out of women in the clinch. So that'll be fun. I'm happy that John Moraga's back. Like not back in the UFC, but just like back in general. Dude's super fun, and like he was really like starting to like he was really starting to come together as a fighter before he left. I know he got knocked out by Figs, but that's Figueiredo. That's cheating.
Right.
You know? I mean, props to Walt Harris. He's getting his main event. He's getting Alistair Overeem that's been knocked out again. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that fight. What fights are you looking forward to, Sensei?
Same for Angela Hill and Loma. That's just gonna be that's just gonna be a good time. I think that's one of those fights where like everybody wins. When I saw the Waterson and Esparza match, I don't know why for some reason I thought like these two should have fought each other a while ago. Like I feel like this is a fight that like should have happened already.
That's weird because one of them was the former atomweight champion and one was the former strawweight champion in Invicta, and
right.
Carlos Esparza is probably smaller than Waterson.
Right. But I'm interested to see how that one goes. I'll definitely have an eye on that one. I'm always rooting for the old guy to kick people off the lawn. So I want to see if Glover can get Smith out of there. Not gonna hold my breath, but we'll see. Man, Walt Harris coming back after all he's been through. It's like gonna be good and sad to see at the same time, like, cause you're gonna remember like why he had to leave and why we haven't seen him for a while.
Right.
And especially like coming off of the Kobe thing, it's like damn, like people like losing kids out here, man. Like, yeah. But it'll be good to see him back though. And hopefully he's in the form that we saw before, his whole situation happened. Real quick though, hypothetical, if this Masvidal Usman fight happens, who do you have winning and
Usman.
How?
Decision.
Think it's close?
49-46. I think there's no reason Usman should lose this fight. Like that's basically what my opinion comes in. Like, there's no reason he should not be able to overpower Masvidal, get him down, keep him down, and do enough to stay active on top. Like we've seen other fighters do it. You saw Gilbert Melendez do it. Like if obviously there's always the chance that he gets caught, but like Usman's not somebody who gets scared off his game, and I don't think Masvidal is that like, unless Masvidal goes out there and like hits him with a flying knee like he did Ben Askren. I don't think Usman's going to give him the opportunity to just land on him at will like Nate Diaz did, or like he did, or like Nate. Yeah. So that should be all Usman. Hopefully he uses the opportunity to show out. Maybe not like the way he did against Woodley, or even against like Covington, but like he gets him down and he just starts beating the shit out of him.
Yeah, I think Masvidal can make this fight competitive, but if I have to pick who's gonna win, yeah, I'm probably going with Usman. I don't envision Usman doing the Ben Askren and immediately shooting in for a takedown. Like, I think he knows that won't be the move. But yeah, kind of like you said, I know Masvidal is on this high, and I'm happy for all the his success that he's finally like kind of getting his due after being in the game for so long. But Usman is still Usman. If he's able to get a hold of Masvidal, I think he's gonna make it a miserable time.
Yep.
But I'm looking forward to the fight though. I think it'll be fun. I think we'll get some fun moments out of it, but I think ultimately Usman probably wins a 5-round decision. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. That's pretty much it for the fight announcements. I mean, all these fights are pretty cool. I don't know if I really care to expand on any of them, but looking forward to all of the fights that
I have a question for you, and I say this with 100% seriousness. How do you think a fight between the new kickboxing-based John Jones and Ryan Bader goes? Because we see that Bader is about to fight Nemkov, and I'm just curious how you see if you see that as a more competitive fight than their first one. Because I think it would.
Yeah, I think it'll be. I think it would be more competitive. Can I say Bader wins?
Because like Jones probably isn't going to out wrestle Bader anymore, just because that's not what Jones wants to do anymore.
But then I have to go to, do I trust Bader in that little ugly right hand? Do I really think that's gonna do it? I think it would be a lot more competitive than the first. I don't know if I still feel comfortable saying like Bader would outright win. But I think he would definitely give him a fight though. I don't think it would be a wash. He wouldn't. I don't think he wouldn't steamroll him. He definitely wouldn't steamroll him. I would still probably pick Jones though.
Coward.
I don't know. Nemkov might be Bader. To be honest, he could.
Right, good, yeah.
But it would be a good fight though. Fortunately, we'll probably never see it because UFC's cowards with cross promotion.
You never know. You never know. John does something wild. He goes to jail for a year. The UFC's
comes out and gets snatched.
The UFC gets bought by Disney. Disney's like, we can't have John Jones back. He went to jail for a year, and then he gets stuck in Bellator.
Lord. Lord. Who knows? But we'll see. Shout out to Ryan Bader, who's quietly just been winning at life since he left the UFC.
Yeah.
All right. News stories. Got a couple of those. I probably should have wrote more of this down, but this is just a really quick news blurb. Now this is the real cousin of Habib, right?
I have no idea. They're
right,
like freaking. He has like 1 million cousins, and like only like 2 of them are real.
All right. Well, for the sake of this story, we're just gonna say he's real. Umar Nurmagomedov, the alleged real cousin of Habib Nurmagomedov, has signed with the UFC. I don't really have anything else other than that. Just you be on the lookout. It's a thing. Now, news stories that I will actually expand upon. Man, both of these are kind of sad in their own respective ways. One of them sad like I'm disappointed in you sad, and the other one sad like this is kind of sucks. We'll get Des Green out the way. I'm only talking about this because we actually mentioned this like back when it first happened, and then every time he fought afterward, we kept mentioning it. So I feel like we got to close the story out. Desmond Green, who has been having just court cases open, but was still like fighting somehow. But his story is continuing on a not so great trajectory. Desmond Green, UFC lightweight. I'm reading this. Good props to the article written from Danny Segura from MMA Junkie. Former UFC fighter Desmond Green jailed after violating terms of release in manslaughter case. I'll just read a couple of excerpts from this. The 30-year-old Green is in Broward County Jail after surrendering Wednesday for violating terms of his release while he awaited trial in a DUI manslaughter case. Green is accused of driving without a license, which is a felony in Florida. After a third offense, Green was given traffic citations for running red lights on September 4th, 17th, and October 25th. After he was not ordered not to drive as a condition of his release, Green also has had a $194,000 bond revoked. Green awaits a DUI manslaughter trial stemming from a car crash on August 18, 2018 that killed 2 women, injured several others on northbound I-75 in Pembroke Pines, Florida. And the rest of the article just kind of details other things about the case and his fight career, but not looking good for one Des Green. This might have been the last time we've seen him fight.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to the victims. Their names aren't listed in this article, but as the article mentioned, there were 2 women who were killed during that incident that this is all stemming from. So Des Green violating terms of his release, and he might be gone for good. So, and somehow also not to get lost in this, he was offered a bare knuckle fight apparently in the middle of all of this turmoil. Obviously the fight didn't happen, but it was allegedly going to be a thing. But bye Des Green.
Wow.
MMA, that's the MMA story if there was one.
That's a combat sports story, bro.
Yeah.
That man fought 3 times in the UFC after killing those people.
Yeah. Alright, moving on to some sad news. This really sucks, man. Reading this from Bloody Elbow, written by Milan Ordonez. Bellator champ Rafael Lovato Jr. indefinitely sidelined due to rare brain disease. The condition that he has is called cavernoma, which happens when a cluster of abnormal blood cells form in the brain and spinal cord. The severity and duration of its symptoms vary depending on where it's located. Experts have yet to pinpoint the exact cause of the disease, but less than 50% of cases are said to be genetic in nature. I'm not going to go into too much detail because there's a kind of a lot to unpack with this. Like, from the random articles and stuff that I've read, like, he had this condition like while he was fighting and was getting mixed advice about whether he should still fight, like if it was okay and the brain thing wasn't a big deal, and then other doctors were telling him like, no, you shouldn't fight, and it's been kind of this whole ordeal. So now he's indefinitely sidelined, I guess, until he kind of gets this situated. It just really sucks because he really had a good year the last couple of years. Made his name in Bellator pretty quick, coming over from the BJJ world. Got his title shot against Musashi, who was still outside of the UFC, was still like one of the best fighters out there. Got a win over him. Everything was looking up, and then this happens.
Yeah. I'm I don't know. Like when it comes to doctors and stuff, like I feel like it's obvious they're going to say, "Oh, you have a problem with your brain, you shouldn't fight." But I also feel like most doctors would be like, "Oh, you probably shouldn't fight anyway."
All right.
Like I obviously I don't know anything about the disease or his condition or whatever, So I'm not gonna give any medical advice on that. Or I shouldn't say advice, like insight, but it just sucks because like he's like what 36, 37.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah, so it's not even like he has that long to be in the sport anyway. If he's going to be around for a while, so like just to have your career sidelined because like you don't know what's wrong, you don't know what's wrong, and you don't know how bad it is yeah, it's scary. Like I'm not sure if this is like life threatening for him, but like it's anything that fucks with your brain. It's scary.
Yeah, and it's scary when it's like unknown. Like like we don't even really know what this is or what it does. Um, but like you said, when it's any issue of the brain, it's probably something you don't really want to play with that.
Right.
So yeah, that sucks. And just another quick blurb says, according to Lovato, doctors found out about his condition when he was required to undergo a brain scan ahead of his Bellator 223 title fight against Musasi. And then they mentioned some quotes about the talk with the doctor where he asked him like, "Have you ever seen your brain before?" And he showed him like what his brain looked like, and I guess it had like some kind of discoloration or something. So yeah, a lot going on, man. But just really unfortunate for Lovato, who everything was just shooting up, and then that quick, life just kind of happens. And he was undefeated, still undefeated, 10-0 currently, 8 wins by finish. So, but this last quote I'll read, he says, "If it's really unsafe, and I'm not going to get approved ever, I finally got to a place where I can accept that, and I'm going to move forward. I'm going to move forward on with my life. If they have set up a fight to determine a new champion, that's okay. I'm going to do everything I can to hopefully get approved to come back, but it's sort of an indefinite time." So prayers and well wishes to Lovato. Definitely don't want to play around with a brain injury, but I would like to see him back. But obviously, health is of the utmost importance. Don't risk that for anything. Like you, you need your health. Like there's one thing you need. Excuse me, walking this planet. You definitely need your health. Everything else is kind of secondary. So hopefully he can get this sorted out. And if he's not able to fight again, hopefully he can still live a fairly normal life outside of fighting. And I mean, as skilled as he is in BJJ, I'm pretty sure he'll still at least like be able to teach and do things like that. Probably just won't really be able to compete anymore. But nevertheless, shout out to Lovato. Hope you recover, good sir. Unless you got any news stories, I think that's pretty much all I got.
It's not really so much a story, so much as a report that was done by John Nash, who looked into Bellator's finances, and found out that up until like a year or two after Coker took over, basically up until like the zone deal, Bellator was like hundreds of millions of dollars in debt. I mean, I'm sure they're still in debt, but like they were running at a deficit every year. Mind you, this is the company that Scott Coker convinced a bunch of investors that they were going to make like $150 million in pay-per-view sales every year. See how that went. But apparently they've turned a profit the last couple of years. Like, it's not a huge profit. I want to say it was like $15 million, but that DAZN deal was really like keeping them alive. For better or worse. That and international broadcasting rights. So like why they go to Israel and why they go to what's the other country they go to? The weird one. Was it Turkey?
Say Italy, because they always end up in
Italy. And I think they're going to Turkey, and like they're supposed to be going to Russia sometime next year. Like if you're wondering why Bellator does all these international cards, it's because they get paid a lot of money to go to broadcast in other countries, and it does the broadcasts do better when they do them live, or live and in prime time in those countries. So that's why. So yeah. So props to John Nash. It's very detailed, very good report. Go check it out if you're interested in like the business behind MMA. So yeah, not news, but interesting stuff.
No, something, because I mean, no matter what you feel about Bellator, I think it's better for the sport that they stay afloat. You
Yep.
need other organizations, you need competition, regardless how you may feel about them. And at the end of the day, like if you're a fight fan in general, you want your fighters to have options. Like they should have a good number of organizations to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Props to Coker for turning the ship around, I guess. I don't know.
He's doing something over there.
It is working. It's not always turning out the best cards. Like, did you see the upcoming Dublin card?
Probably looked at it. I don't remember it though. Isn't Gallagher like? Didn't he pull out of that one?
Yep. So now the main event is between Liam McCord and Judith Ruiz. Ruiz? I don't know. She's German. But that is not a card for anybody who's not in the arena that night.
Oh man. Oh boy. Do I have any other news real quick?
I can check this.
Did this happen already?
Yeah, Invicta had a
Invicta's
card last Friday.
Well, no, I was gonna say they're doing another Phoenix Rising tournament.
Yes, on the 28th.
Okay, I was confused because the article didn't have the date. But yeah, I wanted to give that shout out because we got the last time they did that, we got Brianna Van Buren. So just something to keep an eye on. It'll be headlined by a vacant bantamweight title between Lisa Versosa and recent Ultimate Fighter contestant Julia Stolyarenko.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm saying that correct.
And
then.
Well, I know who you're talking about. I don't know if you said it right.
I probably butchered it. But the tournament combatants will be, I want to say these are all at bantamweight. Carrie Kennison, Brittany Victoria, Erin Hart, Tanisha Tennant, Claire Guthrie, Hope Chase, Autumn Norton, Taylor Guardado, I want to say.
So, yes.
So keep an eye on that. And I think not LFA. PFL I think is doing the tournament too for the lightweight division.
It's in a. Is it? I don't remember which promotion.
It's
a Brazilian promotion.
They got something going on.
Well, they're doing a bunch of. That's the thing. They're doing a bunch of different tournaments all around the world to determine people who will be in the upcoming tournaments this summer. So with a bunch of different promotions, like I think it was in Germany, the UK, Russia, and in Brazil. So it's an interesting way to get new blood into your tournament. Imagine having to win 2 tournaments and win $1 million, though. That'd be funny.
Yeah. Hey, as long as the check clears. Apparently they have been. But yeah, I think that's all for news.
Do we want to talk about Macy Barber's brother getting signed to Bellator?
What's his name? Wyatt,
which is the funniest.
I don't know if he's good. I haven't looked into the dude, but
he has 1 amateur fight. That's it.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah.
We'll see.
Well, no, you don't like bare knuckle. I'm not gonna waste your time on it.
I mean, there are people who listen. I'll let you take. You can take the floor.
Diego Alves is now in bare knuckle UFC. That thing I said is a joke when we announced that he got cut is now a reality.
God. Y'all have fun with your bare knuckle antics. But I guess that's it for news. Upcoming cards. What is coming up on the 15th? UFC Fight Night It's New Mexico. Rio
Yeah.
Rancho.
Rio Rancho.
Yeah, we got Corey Anderson and Jan Blachowicz, Diego Sanchez and Michelle Pereira, Devin Clark versus Godzumira and Tagilov. After that, there ain't a whole lot going on. We got Yancy Medeiros and Lando Venata, John Dotson, Nathaniel Wood, Jim Miller, Scott Holtzman, Ray Borg, Rogerio Bontarine, Casey Kenny, Mera Vashvili, Nico Montano, Macy Chiasson. I think I skipped a couple fights. Brock Weaver, Rodrigo Vargas. It's a fight night card. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Some of the prelims, some of the prelims are cool. Like some of these, like Venata and Yancy should be fun. Always down for a Tim Means fight. I like to see how Nathaniel Wood does. Casey Kenny had a good performance the last time we saw him. It looks like an okay card. Not anything to get too excited about, but there might be some decent scraps. Some decent scraps on here. So that's coming down next week. And then is the Bellator one? Oh, that's on the 21st. The Ed Ruth and Amasov cards. All right, so that'll be coming up. 21st, Ed Ruth versus Yaroslav Amasov, Miles Jury versus Brandon Gertz, Tyrell Fortune versus Timothy Johnson, Jay Ayala versus Valentin Moldavsky, Denise Kilholtz and Christina Williams. Oh, Carlo Pedasali and Mark Lemminger. So this looks pretty fun. This is a pretty decent. Gabriel Varga, Terry Britton. So there's some decent cards on this Bellator card, Bellator 239. This will be pretty good.
Yep, and the day after that is Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury.
Which I need to determine if I'm going to bet my coworker on. He asks me every day I come into work, and I'm undecided on how much money I'm willing to put up for that. But, yeah, so there's some scraps coming. Fun coming. Any upcoming boxing that I missed? That I probably missed?
Besides Wilder Fury, none that I think people would go. I guess, like, if you're a fan of Ryan Garcia, he's fighting Francisco Fonseca on Friday, February 14th. Mikey Garcia is fighting Jesse Vargas on the 29th. Joseph Parker, the man who beat the first man to beat Andy Ruiz, is fighting on the 29th as well in that same card, I believe. That's basically it for fights that people might find interesting. I mean, Gary Russell fought last night.
Yeah, I gotta go back and watch that.
Yeah, but it was a good fight that he dominated. So, props to him, I guess.
There we go. Well, I think that pretty much covers it all.
That's all I got.
Yep. So, move on to some fight recommendations. I have two. One is a fight recommendation. The other one is more so like a shout out. But fight recommendation. I've mentioned this last couple podcasts. I've been diving into some kickboxing lately. Trying to go back and watch fights that I know I missed out on from back in the day. Shouts to No Jill No Life on Twitter and on Tumblr. And you also, of course, because you sent me fights, which I finished your list, I think, like last week. You did send me a list, right?
No, that was her.
That was her? I thought you sent me something. No, you sent me like one fight. You did send me. You sent me something. You sent me at least one fight.
I sent you Shahid versus Zimbi. Was it Zimbi?
I can't say his last name. I know you're talking about.
Yeah.
Though. And I did watch that one. Okay, yeah. So Antacool sent me a fight, and then No Jill No Life. Shout outs to her. She sent me like 6 fights, and I finally finished all 6 of those like last week. One of those, they were all really great fights, but one of them that really, really stood out that I want to recommend people watch is Andy Sauer versus Virgil Kalakota, if I'm saying that right. Awesome fight, man. That fight was crazy. Like, just, it's fights like that I watch, and I'm like, man, why don't more people love kickboxing? because it was such a great just back and forth. Like I think like Virgil had Andy Sauer in trouble early, but then Sauer at the end ended up putting him away. It was an amazing fight, man. It was so good. On YouTube, so easy to watch. Still up there. It's a really old K1 fight. Andy Sauer, of course, if you know anything about kickboxing, one of the all-time greats. So that's Andy Sauer versus Virgil Calicota. Give that a watch on YouTube, especially if you're a kickboxing fan, you might have seen it already. If you're not and you want to familiarize yourself, go watch that, man. It's a really, really great fight. And for Black History Month, because we are recording this during Black History Month, got to give a shout out to the first African American UFC champion, which was Maurice Smith. He defeated Mark Coleman. This was at UFC 14, July 27th, 1997, with a young Big John McCarthy refereeing the fight and a young Michael Buffer on the microphone. Interesting. One of those fights where Maurice won a lot of the fight, even though he spent most of it on the bottom, but he landed like a lot of strikes from the bottom, and Coleman like got really gassed out. I actually didn't even finish watching the fight, but I could kind of tell where it was going. Back when there weren't like rounds, like they just fought for like an allotted time, and I think they ended up going to like some overtime period. But Maurice Smith came over to MMA from kickboxing. He had a pretty long kickboxing career. He had like over like 70 fights. But first African American UFC champion. So go familiarize yourself with him. He's in I think he was inducted in the UFC Hall of Fame in 2017, I want to say. But shout outs to him. He gets shout outs for Black History Month. And that's all I got for my shout outs.
All right, so my first shout out is to my first fight recommendation is Invicta 30. So we mentioned Invicta 39. We didn't get a chance to go over it, but Aaron Blatchfield versus Victoria Leonardo. If you want to see somebody land 4 head kicks in a single fight that only went like 8 minutes, give that a watch, because boy, oh boy.
I only saw one of them, and I was like, how did she live?
Yeah, because she ate 3 more, or she ate 2 more, I think, died on the 4th. But that was a great little scrap, and you know, big statement win for well, I'm gonna leave a surprise, but you go catch that one. And my other one is the fight I recommended you. So it'd be Jahid versus Zambides. Mike Zambides. Just if you are on the fence about being into kickboxing or getting into go watch that fight, because if that fight does not entertain the hell out of you, then kickboxing is just not for you. It was a tremendous war between the two. One of the best K1 fights ever. So go give that a watch. So yeah, that's all I got.
Support good kickboxing. Oh man, real quick footnote. I gotta throw a shot at my team, man. This game was on while the fights were on, man. North Carolina and Duke. I am an avid Tar Heels fan. Admittedly, I haven't been keeping up with college basketball a lot this season. I just kind of catch highlights and watch, like, to see the scores. North Carolina lost one of the most heartbreaking losses I've ever seen in my life last night. And I can't remember the last time I've seen this team be this bad. And it is really, it's so depressing. Can't hit free throws down the stretch. Just missing free throws left and right. God, just fouling at the worst times. We were up by like 10, and then Duke came back. Yes. Like, it was a meltdown. And just the way the game ended off of like a putback. Like, and nobody like boxed. Oh my God. Just, I was livid watching that. That was just, North Carolina's been terrible all season, but I was like, if y'all can beat Duke, that'll just be the one thing at least I can look back and be like, you know what, because I hate Duke. Duke is like one of my top 5 hated like teams in all of sports. And I just wanted North Carolina just get that one win, do one thing good this season, and they just. I have no words. Y'all still my team. I love y'all.
But I hate you.
But this season, yes, this season has been abysmal. So I gotta throw a shot at them because y'all. I don't know what y'all are doing. Roy Williams. I don't know what's going on. But somebody fix it. Somebody fix it. But that's it, man. I can run on that for a while. Be quiet. Get out of here. But that's pretty much all we got for today's show. So as always, give us a listen. SoundCloud, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you get your podcast from. Send questions to Dojo Talk Podcast at yahoo.com. Hit us up on social media at the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page as well as the Instagram page. Hit me up. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch at Serial Sensei. And you can follow GC Zeus on Twitter at follow Anti-Cool on Twitter at GC Zeus. And like I said, this podcast is winding down, so the next time you guys hear from us will be March. I can't remember the date. I don't have it pulled up.
7th.
But,
well, that's the day of the pay-per-view.
Yeah, so you'll probably hear from us between like the 8th and the 10th, covering the Romero and Adesanya pay-per-view, which that, like I said, we picked some good, this last stretch is going to be fun. There are going to be some crazy fights to talk about. But you'll hear from us then, so it'll be a little break until then, and then keep it rolling till the train stops. But until then, as always, anytime people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we will be there to talk about it. And until next time, we will catch you guys later.